Thank you for watching this video from on our YouTube channel, and we encourage you to watch more, but we'd love to have you join us either for worship service or Bible study anytime. And remember that we're always ready to give an answer. The Bible has the answers, you have the questions. We've been having a series on angels, and today's is part 7. It'll be the last phase. At the bottom of the description here in YouTube, you'll see the links to the other 6 so you can learn more about it. But we still don't have every angel verse covered. Just let you know that in our 7 parts, we're doing a kind of a high level view. So today the title is Legion. And exactly what is Legion? Legion is one name for several fallen angels. So we'll be getting to that. Now, what I have here is a listing of the Legion scriptures. And you can see, excuse me, you can see here where there's 41 verses in the New Testament on Legion. And obviously, we're not doing 41 verses today. But if you were studying with us, we would go through and discuss verses here and there and have all these references and all. So I just have a few of them pulled out because, like I said, we're getting a high level view. Now, here's what's going to happen. Since we don't have the time for the 41 verses, let us go ahead. What I'm going to do is have a setting on the scenario, exactly what happens here for Legion, and then I'll have a summary at the end. But I do encourage you to read all of these verses of Matthew 8, Mark 5, and the Luke 8 that cover Legion. All right, so let's start off with what is Legion about, the story itself. Well, I have marked here, a man was possessed with devils, plural, and was forced by the town and led by the devil to live in the tombs, not in a house. And what is the tombs? Well, it'd be a cemetery, be like a scary place type deal. So he lived in the tombs because why? Well, the second sentence here says chains wouldn't hold him, and he abused his body, including cutting himself with stones. Okay, so here's what's happened. We got a guy that's possessed with multiple devils, and he can't be living in town with regular society because of the evilness and the fact that he sounds very violent. Okay, so what he has is he has to live like a vagabond off in his own uh, area away from town because of the attributes that he has. All right, now here's what happens from got a viewpoint from this tombs where he's living. He looks down and sees there's a boat coming to the dock. So this ship that's coming to the dock, he being the one possessed with Legion, sees that this boat is coming, and actually Jesus is on board. So we have here that Jesus is aboard this ship that's about to land in Gadarene. So Gadarene's the name of the town. So we have here Jesus is on board. Somehow this guy already knows Jesus is on board from afar off because he's on land up there in the tombs, and he then sees that Jesus is on board of a boat that's about to dock. All right, so let's look at Mark 5, verse 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Mark and Luke scriptures in here, so it's kind of chronological. All right, but when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him. Okay, well, who are these? Who is the he in here? But when he saw Jesus, he being the Legion is what we're going to find out that the name of the angels are, or the fallen angels, I should say, saw Jesus afar off. He ran. Well, that's interesting. They're using that verse. He ran and worshiped him. So let's see, a guy that you have all chained up, the chains won't even hold him. He loosens himself from the chain. You can't even chain him down. He's he's very violent, and yet he's running down to a boat to meet the boat and waiting for you. Okay, well, there's a lot of people on the boat. The pilot of the boat and the crew and whoever else is with Jesus. There's several people there. Why are you recognizing just Jesus out of all the? Didn't say he went down and worshipped those that came off the ship. No, it just has the one pronoun him being who? Being Jesus. So there's one thing is I'll go, oh, well, this guy has evil spirits living in him, and yet they recognize when Jesus lands, if you want to say land, when the boat appears at the dock, somehow they know each other. Somehow he knows that's Jesus has that spirit, and those other human beings on the boat, well, he's not worshiping them. They're not Jesus. Let's look at Luke 8:28. So, boy, we found out he ran. That's already unusual. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell down before him, and with a loud voice says, "What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God Most High? I beseech thee, torment me not." Well, boy, there's a lot to break down in that verse. So when this man that's possessed sees Jesus, he falls down before Jesus. I'm going through the pronouns here, giving you the nouns. And with a loud voice, "What have I to do with thee?" Okay, why would you ask that? Well, because we're living in this man, in this human being, and this is where we live. And suddenly you showed up, so I know there's got to be some kind of deal about to happen. I mean, why are you here to see us for? Well, he's using the pronoun I as if it's one. So what does I have to do with thee, thou Son of God Most High? Okay, so you're not pointing out anybody else on the boat. The boat's already landed. And then as they disembark off of the boat, you then see that Jesus is there. Not only you run down to the dock to worship him, but you're now giving him his title of Son of God Most High. And what is it that you're asking? You said the word beseech there. Yeah, beseech is like beg. Okay, torment me not. How is Jesus? I mean, just a guy teaching Bible is what he does. How is he going to torment you? Why are you using the word torment there? Says, hey, I'm going to don't torment me. You know, what have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Just like when you're meeting authority, you give them their title. And then now torment me not. So you're telling me, gee, this guy just got off the boat, Jesus, you recognize him, and you think he has the ability to torment you? Yeah, I guarantee you. That's why I'm begging him, don't torment me. And now, verse 29, Luke 8:29, which I don't have printed out, but I can tell you what it says because it's kind of lengthy. But it says here, Jesus commanded the evil spirits to come out of the man. So now was he talking to the man talking back, but the man himself, the spirit that's in that human being, is not the one doing the talking. One doing the talking are the evil spirits in that human being. They had found a source where they can live, and they live there, and it wasn't pleasant. I mean, he couldn't even live in society. But Jesus commanded the evil spirits to come out of the man. So you're not talking about like you're talking about like an exorcism, like the movie. Well, yeah, that's where they got this. Oh, so the evil spirits came out of the man. He commanded. So Not only are you recognizing Jesus' authority because you asked him to please don't torment me, Jesus is now given a command, and you guys are going to obey the command. Jesus is one spirit. You guys are multiple spirits. So two heads better than one type deal. Well, no, actually, Jesus has the power of the Father, and his Father is spirits. And no, we already called him Son of God Most High. We already gave him his title. We know who he is. He knows who we are. And now Jesus is saying, all right, you got to come out of this guy. You got to come out of the man. Verse 30. Let's look at Luke 8 is where I'm at. Luke 8:30. And Jesus asked him, saying, what is thy name? Now, this is for our benefit. Jesus already knows who he's talking to. These evil spirits, they know who they're talking to. They're talking to the Son of God Most High. They're not even calling him Jesus, his earthly name. Oh, no, they're calling him a spiritual name, and he has power associated with this thing called Son of God. Oh, so Jesus asked him, this is for our benefit, what is thy name? And he said, Legion. And then there's a colon there. And why is there a colon? To explain this to us. Legion, because many devils were entered into him. So there were many, even though he used the pronoun I in the previous verse and torment me in the previous verse, we see here now that it is many devils were entered into the man. Okay. What's your name? Legion. So now the people can the people around can see what's going on. People that were on the boat and people that were on the land, they actually are witnessing this. They're witnessing that, oh, here's that guy we couldn't chain up that we make live in the cemetery. And then now this boat shows up. Jesus gets off the boat with a bunch of other people. And now we're watching this evil spirits have to come out of the man. What's your name? Legion. Well, this is for the benefit of those that are watching there and for us, of course. And it says, why is his name Legion? Because he's got many devils in him. All right, verse 31, Luke 8, verse 31. And they besought him. Who is the they? We got some pronouns in here. Let's see. They are the devils that are in him. The first they mention the word I as if they're one guy, as if they're one spirit. And now all of a sudden, we're calling ourselves Legion because we're one. Yeah, we're a group of one, but there's a bunch of us. Okay. So there's probably 2 or 3 of you guys. Well, we'll find out in this lesson how many of them there are. They besought him. This besought means to beg. I'm begging who? This him is who? Well, Jesus, what we call Son of God Most High. And they begged him to do what now? And they besought him that he would not command them to go out into the deep. Wait a minute. Jesus can give you guys a commandment? Huh? How is Jesus your authority? Well, we recognized his authority when he got off the boat and we called him Son of God. And then as soon as we called him Son of God, say, hey, what are you doing here? Are you here after us? Well, if you're here after us, then well, can we have a deal? Can we strike a bargain here? We're really in dire straits. So do not give the command. I mean, you're going to have to obey a command Jesus gives you? Yes. Why is that? Because he's Son of God. So now here's the worm is turned. We're now, I mean, we were living in this guy doing our evil thing, no problem. Jesus shows up, big problem. Now they beg him, hey, don't command us to go out into the deep. What is the deep? What are you calling the deep? Well, we would find out the deep is a waiting place for spirits. Waiting for what? Judgment Day. Oh, so you'd have to go study that. Well, yeah, you know how many topics are in this one set of verses here? A bunch. One of them is the hereafter. So this says, hey, don't cast us into the deep. We don't want to go there. Why? Because there's spirits in there in the deep that are going to be dumped into the lake of fire at the judgment day. Okay. We're not going over those scriptures, but if you were studying with us, we would. Okay. But because you want to know what is this deep? What's called the deep? Well, it's a place. And you know what? It's a place where these devils don't want to go. So, anyway, we know you have the power to command us to go into the deep. We're begging you, don't command us to go. You mean if I gave you the command, you'd have to go? Well, yes. You have that much authority and that much power. Yes, we already told you you're son of God. The authorities has already been brought up. Now that you have more power than all of us, we're just begging you here. Don't toss us into this deep. Don't make us go into the deep. Okay, well, do you have an idea what I'm gonna do? You're not going back into this human being. Okay, that's the bottom line. You ain't going back in there. I've already commanded you to get out. That was verse 29. I've already commanded you, you're not going back in the man. I've already commanded you to come out. Well, since we came out and obeyed your command, hey, don't give us another command about the deep and waiting on the judgment day. Let us stay here on planet Earth. That's the bargain? Well, yeah, that's what they're begging, yes. And who are you begging? I'm begging the one with the authority that can command me to go to the deep. Oh, let's look at verse 32. Still looking at Luke 8, verse 32. And there was a herd of many swine feeding. Okay, well, let me look at this a second. And there was a herd of many swine feeding on the mountain, in a colon there. Well, stop at that colon for a second. There's a herd of pigs. You talking about pigs? Yeah, that's what swine is. Feeding on the mountain. Okay, so you guys are raising pigs? Yeah, I thought y'all were Jews. That you're obeying the laws of Moses, the Levitical law, same laws Jesus is obeying. Yeah, we're Jews. Okay, but you're raising pigs and you're not allowed to eat pork. It's not kosher. You're only supposed to be eating kosher food. What are you doing raising hogs when you're not supposed to be eating hogs? Okay, just a question. Huh. All right. So what are y'all doing? Raising it for money or? Oh yeah, we're farmer. It doesn't just because we may not eat them, we may just sell them to the Romans or whoever else is not a Jew. They'll eat the pigs. So yeah, that's we're farmers. We're raising pigs here. Okay, well that's interesting already. All right, well let's finish this verse. That was up to the colon, you said? Yeah. So and they besought him. Let me see if I can highlight this a second. And they besought him that they excuse me, let me get a little problem with my reading this morning. And they besought him. Now, what's the besought? That's beg. So they besought him that he would suffer them to enter into them. What? Yeah, don't send us into the deep. Okay, first of all, we came out of the man. We obeyed your commandment about coming out of the man that was up in the cemeteries there, living in the tombs. We'd already obeyed one of your commandments. We're begging you now, don't send us to the deep. So you're recognizing he has power to send you to the deep? Yes. What are you asking for? We see those pigs? Yeah, there's a herd of pigs up there. Why don't you just send us into those pigs? And then that's a lot better than us going to the deep because we'll still be on planet Earth. Okay. So that's what you're begging Jesus about, is to not send us to this bad place called the deep, and instead let us enter into these pigs. So you mean the evil spirit can enter into a pig? Well, yeah, that's what this verse is saying. Well, I thought that the evil spirits were just going to be like in human beings. Well, they were in this human being. Now they're saying, hey, instead of sending us to another human being, and notice you guys didn't ask that, can we find another person to get in? No. Well, don't send us to the deep. What about those pigs? Well, here's your answer. So after this period here, you get the answer. He suffered them. He said, okay, so we got a deal. We got a deal. I won't send you to the deep. You're not going back into another human being, and you're certainly not going back into the same human being. All right, so yeah, I'll let you go into those pigs. All right, let's see what happens next. We're going to the book of Mark now. Mark 5:13. And forthwith Jesus gave them leave. Okay, so there he says, all right, he's acquiesced. He says, all right, you begged me, and I'm saying, okay, I'm not going to send you into the deep. All right, so you said the pigs, will do that. And forthwith Jesus gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. Oh, okay, well, there's a colon there. Let me stop there. Unclean spirits. I was looking up angels. This verse didn't show up. No, it didn't. It won't, because now they're called unclean spirits. Well, then I'd have to study like with a Bible teacher or whatever to find out there's more angel verses than the word angel being in the verse. Yeah, that's right. You got one here. They're unclean spirits. Okay, but they are spirits. Yeah, we learned that in the earlier lessons 1 through 6 of our angels study. We already learned that they're spirits, and they already been cast out of their original house. Now they're out in here on planet Earth. Now we find a group of them in one man that this was nothing but violent. So excuse me here. I gotta clear my throat. Yeah, so if I go and find out and he becomes real violent and all of a sudden, you know, we had a deal going, all of a sudden Jesus shows up. Okay. And what happened? Well, cast all the spirits out of that man. And then the spirits started begging Jesus, hey, don't send us to this afterlife place, this deep. Uh, we got some pigs over here, so you know there's pigs there. Oh, yeah. Says, okay. So the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. Well, how do you do that? Well, because we're spirits. We have the ability to do that. The swine are physical pigs. And these pigs have a spirit in them. We'll just go live in the pig. Okay. And then is that the end of the story? No, not hardly. And the herd ran violently down the herd of sheep. Yeah, we already had that in Luke 8:32, but the herd of many swine were feeding. And the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. And then there's a parenthesis there, a parenthetical phrase. They were about 2,000. What? I thought we were just talking to a couple of angels that were in fallen angels, the way he's calling them unclean spirits. I thought there were just a couple of them in there, and they said, I'm I, and he says legion. He said many, okay, 3 or 4. Now I come down here and find a verse that says, no, they're talking about 2,000. 2,000 evil, unclean spirits living in one human being. Well, no wonder the guy was going berserk. Oh. So Jesus is one spirit commanding 2,000 spirits to go somewhere. Well, actually, the 2,000 are begging him, where can we go? How about a deal? How about the pigs? And he goes, okay. So they men went in and got in the pigs. Yeah, Jesus has let us off the hook. We don't have to go to the deep. There's about 2,000. Okay, and what happened to the pigs? Well, they were choked in the sea. So you mean they died? Well, yeah. Well, yeah, the two we were raising pigs. And then this guy came along now. Evil spirits went in them, and then all the pigs died. Okay, well, what if I'm the landowner and I'm making cash selling these pigs? This may be a financial disaster here. Well, but no, but did you notice that we got rid of 2,000 evil spirits? No, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at these pigs died. Oh, let's look further down here. Luke 8:34. And when they that fed them, oh, you talking about the ranchers, the feeders, the ones that, because you did say that they were feeding on the mountain. We had that up here in Luke 8:32, that they were feeding on the mountain. Okay, so you got people feeding them. Yeah, yeah. And you said what now? I said when they that fed them saw what was done. Well, that's how you know there were witnesses then. Well, yeah, because I look further down in the scriptures. See, that's the thing when you study with us. We'll look at the previous and future scriptures that relate to it so we can get all the details. Because here we're going between Luke and Mark, just making this chronological. So when the guys that were feeding the pigs, okay, what'd they do? Did they? Well, yeah, I mean, they had a job feeding the pigs, and now there ain't no pigs. Oh, so what are you going to do? I'm going to run tell the boss, whoever it is that owns the pigs. They're going to say, "Hey, it wasn't me that killed your pigs, by the way." No, what happened? Well, this verse 8, look at Luke 8:34. When they that fed them saw what was done, they fled and went and told it in the city and in the country. Okay, so you're going to go advertise what happened. Well, I want to go tell them that there was 2,000 spirits cast out of that guy up there we had living in the tombs, and they went into the pigs, and I was actually the carekeeper of the pigs, the caretaker, and all the pigs went and got choked in the sea. They all died. And you're telling us all that? Yeah, don't blame me. I know I had a job feeding them, but still. All right, so you're saying now that the whole town will rejoice because Jesus cast out all these evil spirits. We don't have that guy in chains anymore. And this was a beautiful thing watching God's work in action and showing his authority and having his son having the ability to cast out evil spirits out of a human being. So are they going to have a parade in this town or have Jesus come in and speak? Maybe come stay for a week or 2 weeks and teach us, because we had this magnificent thing happen. We had Jesus come and cast out these swine. Okay, well, yeah, if we had time and you were studying with us, we'd go over all the verses. So what I've done here is I made a sequel and said, okay, let me tell you what happens. And when you look at the future verses of Mark and Luke and Matthew, when you look at these, all right, here's the sequel. The witnesses that saw the devils cast out of the man told the citizens exactly what happened. Yeah, they ran because they used the verb fled. So it wasn't like they casually went back into town, they ran into town. Okay, so they went and told the citizens what happened. Boy, I bet they're rejoicing about that. The swine that they were raising died, so they demanded Jesus leave. What? You just saw Jesus cast out 2,000 evil, unclean spirits out of a human being, and they went into these pigs, and the pigs died. There should be great rejoicing. No, you need to leave. Well, you know what this kind of reminds me when I was doing this sermon? This reminds me of when I'll show somebody a scripture. If they'll give me their opinion of something that's not in the Bible, and then I'll show them uh, what's in the Bible, and it's actually the opposite of what their opinion is. And you know what? They'll want me to leave. No, instead of showing you more scriptures. Right, yeah, and they didn't like hearing that because they liked their opinion. Okay, so why are you asking Jesus to leave again? He just cost us a bunch of money. You weren't raising 2,000 sheep, were you? Well, no, they were pigs. Sheep we can eat. Pigs, no. Okay, so you were raising a bunch of pigs. The pigs died. You cost you all kinds of money. Yeah, so we'll get rid of the guy that does what? It cost us the money. Okay, are you losing sight of the fact that he cast out all these evil spirits? Yeah, yeah, we don't care anything about that. Oh, what we care about is the coins. That guy cost us a bunch of money. You know what? You just need to leave. That. I mean, your boat showed up. You got out of here. This guy ran down from the tombs, started worshiping you. We had all kinds of witnesses. The guys that were stayed with the pigs, now they see all the pigs die and they run into town. And you know what? You caused a bunch of trouble here. Why don't you just leave? Well, I find that today's doctrine. You start teaching doctrine to people that are in a false doctrine or they're in unbelief, and they'll want you to leave. They've heard enough. So anyway, that was kind of my thought while I was doing this sermon. All right, so then what happened to the guy that was possessed? The formerly possessed man wanted to leave with Jesus. So I don't even want to go back into the town. I was especially where I was living and all, I had all these evil spirits living in me. I'd rather follow you. You have truth. You're teaching truth. You got power. I saw you cast out these devils out of me. Let me go with you. You'll find out reading the scriptures that he told him, no, you go into town and tell people what happened. Tell them you were possessed with devils, that spirit came along from the Father called Son of God. Son of God came out, cast all the evil spirits out, and now you're living a peaceful life. Well, that's what he did. Instead of begging Jesus, no, I have to go with you, or force himself on it. Nope. Formerly possessed man wanted to leave with Jesus, but he was told by Jesus to go into the town and be a witness. And you know what? He did as Jesus commanded. He went into town and told everyone in town. Actually, it says he advertised or published, I think is the verb, exactly what happened. Okay, so now he did what? Well, now he's a teacher. Oh, so he took this guy with had all these thousands of devils living in him and did what? Well, now he's in town teaching. Oh, well, that's quite a transformation. Yeah, so Jesus is already teaching in the towns and in the synagogues. Well, why not have this guy learn something and go teach in his town? So that's what happened. So anyway, I hope you learned something not only from this lesson, but all seven. All seven of our angels deal. And like I said, we didn't go over all of the 41 scriptures just from this one legion, just from one part. So you can imagine how many scriptures there are about angels. So it's really been a pleasure bringing all of the lessons. We hope to hear from you. You can add some comments. You can also always like and follow us on the YouTube channel. But you can see here what was today's lesson. Jesus cast out thousands, and the pigs then all died. And the people go, hey, we're looking at money that you cost us. We're not looking at the fact that you cast out spirits. Well, that sounds just like the society I'm living in. It does? Yes. Bunch of greed. I'd rather have greed than listen to you guys. You guys, Cyber Church of Christ, always talking about scripture this, scripture that, proving all things in the Bible. I'll rather do my greed thing. Okay, well, that's no different than what I just saw here happen. Well, no, there's nothing new under the sun. It's Ecclesiastes. Oh, okay, so it's just like it was then. Well, yeah, it's always going to be like that. Either you believe or you don't believe. But I can tell you one thing: the one that was possessed is a believer from what he saw, and the people in the town and the witnesses that were watching the pigs. No, it doesn't say anything about them. Well, it seemed like they would have come down and wanted to learn more truth and to say, "Hey, let me talk to the Son of God." No, I'm going to run into town and tell people this fabulous thing that happened. Okay, and then what about today? What today? What I do is write a movie or a TV show or something, and what I'll do is show people possessed. But I can take this story and go make my own stories. Well, that's exactly what happened. All right. Anyway, we're the Cyber Church of Christ. We'd love to hear from you. Try to keep these lessons kind of short. I'd like for you to show them to other people because we'd like to grow. But you can contact us. We're at cybercochrist@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear, or put comments down at the bottom. Say, hey, contact me at such and such. We'll contact you. We're easy to look up. Anyway, we're the Cyber Church of Christ. We'd love to have you. And also, just remember, we love you. We want you to be saved at the judgment day. It's our whole goal. That's the only reason we exist. We're the Cyber Church of Christ. Have a great week.